That's exactly that. Hemang Jani on the show with us. Hemang, hi, morning. The big talking point this morning, of course, is the fall in crude. Not just the biggest intraday fall since the early part of May, but also it's now down for a third consecutive month. How do you think the crude sensitives, I mean, largely OMCs, paints, aviation, lubricant manufacturers, the entire segment for which a decline in crude actually turns out to be positive is going to pan out today. And do you like any of these spaces?
Good morning, Aisha. Thanks for having me. I think surely, the way the crude has remained, by and large in a certain range has helped our markets economy in a major way. And now that we had a, bit adverse data come through from the US manufacturing side and the way the crude price has actually gone down, surely, it's going to be a bit positive, more so for some of the sectors and companies that you highlighted. I think the larger focus, Aisha, at this point should be, given the way the market has really gone up and the fact that we are trading at almost all-time high levels without any meaningful correction, you know, is this a case for some sort of a pause or some sort of a consolidation in the market at the index level? Remember, the broader markets, the mid cap and the small caps have already started showing a bit of sluggishness for the past few trading sessions. So I think the larger focus should be on that and how do you deal with that scenario. Having said that, I definitely think that OMCs, which have really not performed, would have a bit of a positive rub off of the crude price going down. Aviation stocks, anyway, have been doing pretty well. So, be it Indigo or SpiceJet, you could see a bit of a stability over there as well.
All right, fair enough. And let's get in your take then as to what the outlook is on Bajaj Finance and in particular the Bajaj Housing IPO, because Macquarie's latest note is suggesting that this could be the next HDFC, just going by the kind of valuations that it commands and the expectations. What's your outlook?
So, hi, Avan. I do think that having seen a major underperformance, by Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv both, this IPO could be a bit of a trigger to see some outperformance or see some uptick, given the holding that it has in Bajaj Finance and the valuation that it will get post listing. So I do think that, this will provide a bit of a re-rating or some sort of a tactical unlocking trade as we call it. So maybe another 5 to 10% kind of an up move. But given the overall scenario that we are in, where the banks are struggling to get the deposits, the fact that the rates are not going to come down in a hurry, I do not think that there is a case for a significant up move in names like Bajaj Finance, given the valuation concerns.
Bunch of other stocks as well, which are going to be in focus. There's Macquarie, which has come out with a note on Westlife as well. While they're maintaining their outperformance, the target price has been set at 940 rupees per share. They're saying that McDonald's is suggesting a focus on some of the value offerings now going forward. Loyalty program, willingness to support franchises most affected by the Mideast conflict. And they're saying once clarity on the steady state return profile is actually going to return, they see actually Westlife Store Edition accelerate. Hemang, it's not been the best times, right, for some of these QSR plays, and I'm going to add Westlife as well in that basket. Do you think there is scope for some sort of meaningful rebound, and could Westlife be it leading it?
So, Aisha, the way we look at the space is that while we've seen some pockets do very well under discretionary consumption, be it jewelry companies or high-end auto companies, so on and so forth, the fact of the matter is that some of these QSR companies have not done well for an extended period of time when you look at the data points. The only positive takeaway, as I see it, is that Jubilant Food and some companies reported, in line or slightly better set of numbers, and the data also suggests that the, urban consumption could be on the revival path. So, you might see some, investors looking out for the opportunities where the sector has actually underperformed and there are initial signs of revival. And as a part of rotation, this may play out well. So I do like Jubilant Food at this point of time, but I would not get over extended on that entire theme unless I see sustainable growth from the other companies.
I'm using this word happy hour. Is it a good word to describe happy hours are over?
Weekend coming early for you, Nikunj?
Good
There's
morning.
an office party at night actually. So
Yeah,
just in
I'm
that
not
mood.
so much. Yeah, good morning, Nikunj. I'm not so much used to happy hours because we have extended office hours and only weekends are meant for that. But I think what you said is right that, having seen the kind of, re-rating across entire broader markets, PSU themes, and when you look at the market cap that some of the companies are commanding, the possible earnings that one can really look at, I think the best of the re-rating phase surely looks to be over. Having said that, you might see certain theme extending itself given the overall structural reforms or the growth visibility that some of them offer, maybe something on the defense side or clean energy side, so on and so forth. But I surely think that at this time it would make sense to be a bit cautious and don't get carried away by the kind of momentum that we have seen over the last, let's say, 1 year or so.
We just discussed this, the Morgan Stanley note on the entire chemical sector, where they're talking about how earnings are not fully de-risked, upgrades are still some time away, and there are some green shoots visible across verticals, but that's been offset by the pricing pressure. What's your view on Deepak Nitrite, PI Industries, Aarti Industries, and the like?
So, while many people are talking about a revival in the specialty chemical space, the fact remains that for almost now 4 quarters, there has not been any significant earning-led revival that we are seeing. And when you look at the quarterly numbers, when you listen to the management con calls, things are not that clear. Only two or three companies stood out for me. One, of course, was Atul. After almost about 2.5 years, the company reported good set of numbers, and management sounded very confident on the entire, portfolio in terms of growth for next year. Deepak Nitrite has been delivering, consistently for the last 2 years, has invested, in their businesses. So, some of these companies surely I would recommend in terms of, allocation, but I would not want to get into whole host of companies, be it Vinati Organics or SRF, uh, even Navin Fluorine for that matter, has not delivered for an extended period of time.
What is your view on Bajaj Housing Finance IPO, Hemang? First IPO from the Bajaj Group after a gap of 30 years.
I think the first takeaway, as we discussed, was that for Bajaj Finance, there can be a short-term trigger, and given the holding that they have and the possible unlocking, and the fact that Bajaj Finance is underperformed, you could see a bit of a catch-up there. But otherwise, IPO, the way things are happening, Nikunj, the valuations, the exuberance, I'm not, too much comfortable with that. So unless I find that there is a good amount of value on the table and there is a case for a, substantial earnings-led growth, I would not really venture out onto some of these names.
You had those defense stocks that were all abuzz in trade yesterday, Hemang. Of course, there was a little bit of a news flow that gave these stocks a fillip. But do you believe that the long-term trend is looking intact, and do you have any favorites?
So yes, I think the overall order flow has been very strong, and given the geopolitical tensions and the pressure on the government to really have high defense preparedness would mean that this will continue. So some of the companies delivered good numbers. If you see this quarter, BEL I think reported very strong set of numbers. Same is the case with HAL, but whole host of companies were not up to the mark in terms of the numbers, and they also have got majorly re-rated, be it defense, be it shipbuilders, and so on and so forth. So I think it's time to be a bit careful, be selective. I think BEL, HAL are the names that we like. I'm not going to kind of get into any other pocket just because they've corrected through this correction.
Question on where it is that you're seeing the most potential within the broader markets, if you could nail it down to the top 3 stocks.
I think telecom surely is something that should do reasonably well, and we've seen the way the earnings growth picture, the outlook on ARPU has been. So maybe Bharti and Idea both could be one pocket that people would want to look at. BSC has been one of the best performing stocks, and though there have been indications from SEBI that they will take some steps to curb the retail participation. Given the fact that you have IPO launch by NSE, I think BSC being the meaningful incumbent would see some rub off. So BSC is something that I've been liking, and I do think that even this during this volatile time, it would make sense to add on to that.
All right, Hema, I'm going to let you go on that note. Thank you for taking time out and joining in. Vaishali,